what up, everybody? I'm gonna make a live. Just make sure we have the live chat up. Give me 1 second. We're gonna have a watch party. We're gonna watch qualifying real quick. So give me 1 second. Let me make sure we're live. Yep, we are live now. Boom. So let's go ahead and start.
AKA Narodow in Warsaw, in Poland, for a special one, for the big one, for the title fight to be contended this weekend. My name is Ian Waddington and I'm joined alongside my very good friend, Jacob Gettins. Jacob, welcome to Poland. Welcome to your first ever stadium event.
All inspiring. It was something walking in here, and truly a day I will never forget. This place is incredible.
It certainly is. Look, it's awe-inspiring. You walk in here, you see the stadium, the track built in 3 days by an army of men, and it has led us to what is going to be an incredible weekend. This is the calendar so far. 2 back-to-back winners. We had Conor Shanahan and Peter Wycheck, who have both won 2 rounds this year. That is the main focus. There are 3 drivers in the hunt for the championship, but 2 guys that are really in it. But this is how it played out in Ferropolis in Germany just a few weeks ago when we went under the lights in that Iron City. It was a spectacle, and this was how it went down. It was Jack Shanahan that finally took down Peter in the final battle before the final. Jack got it done.
Yeah.
I paid for my own college, so I knew I'd have to start accumulating a lot of money, paying student loans, paying rent. There wasn't much left over.
Here we go, straight on to the onboard, no messing around. It is Oleksiy Halovnia, all the way from Ukraine, Toyota GTX-6, 2JZ, 900 horsepower, a wild card at round 1 in Spain with this new team, Xtrinity Racing Team, sits on the line in this incredible car. This man, not scared of the walls and not scared to put that car where it needs to be, looking good in practice, but can he put it down now where it needs to? We've predicted already behind the scenes some high scores in qualifying, Jacob. Here we go, no messing around, flicks the car from left to right and sets that car up on the handbrake, gets himself into that first outside zone. Now looking to put the back bumper as close to the wall as possible without smashing the back end into it, and same with the front, trying to get that front wheel through that white line in that inside zone. Back on throttle he goes as Halovnia now puts almost all 4 wheels into that long outside zone as he fires across the circuit, picks up that outside zone once again. Now he'll dab with the handbrake, so you can see him slow the car down before he collects outside zone 6, stays on that wide line, picks up outside zone 7, puts the bumper towards the wall, hangs a spoiler over it and across the line.
Wow, big start there from Halovnia. I mean, this is solid. He's a driver that, I mean, if you're new to drifting, he's been around. He's done a lot of different series all over the world, and this is great for a vehicle that, you know, I mean, he's spent a bit of time in, but all things considered, not that much, and a big improvement from practice. Looked like he was bobbling a little bit around in practice, but through this run, things look good. The only thing standing out to me, that big handbrake pull. Judges, drivers meeting last night, one of the longest ones we've had probably this season, but a lot of conversation of not only what goes on in the zones, but what goes on in between the zones. How do you want a correction made? How do you want things to be changed going zone to zone? So to me, I think that big handbrake pull is going to be a kind of a hit to the style side of the points.
Yeah, it certainly is. There was a lot of chat last night, as you say, about where drivers were allowed to make a correction or decel the car. And we have amber and red zones this weekend. Is very, very technical because this is only a short circuit, but there's a lot of points to be gained within that short amount of time. As we see the beautiful slow-mo shots from our Phantom camera back this weekend, and our man Addy down there going to be getting in and around all parts of the circuit to bring us the best shots from our Red Bull Media House. Well, there we go. That is the view from where we're sitting almost.
Yeah, I mean, we're a little further down from there, but that corner view, I mean, there is no bad seat here. I spent a little bit of time today kind of checking out the different areas and like...
Yeah, you were meant to be working.
Yeah, I know I was supposed to be, but I had to play tourist for a little while.
You were just soaking up the ambiance?
It's truly crazy. I mean, the sound, the feeling, every pop and bang, you're kind of taking it to the chest. It's
a sensory overload.
It is. It's a lot, and it's just incredibly difficult to put into words what this place means to drifting.
I think the biggest thing, and here we go, scores dropped in for Oleksiy Halovnia. It's an 81.5. That will put him in first place at the moment. I think this is, now for Drift Masters, a stadium event is just what we do. You know, it's kind of expected. You go back on the line, it's Konstantin Shironenko from the Ukraine, and yes, another Trinity Racing car comes off the start line. We have 3 of them back-to-back for qualifying as he absolutely lights up the tyres on the back of that GT86. 2JZ shuts it down though. Oh, and he's made a mess of that, kicks the car to angle. It looks like it didn't really want to work for him. Shironenko now puts himself back into the moment. Oh, and he catches a big load of understeer. It looks like this car could have some issues. Was down in the paddock earlier in the break between practice and qualifying. I can see a lot of panic, a lot of confused faces down there from the mechanics trying to get that car back together, trying to make sure that all 3 cars are on top form ready for qualifying as he goes for it and across the line. I do have a feeling that will be a 0. Prolonged amount of straightening won't be what the judges are looking for, and the judges this weekend, as always throughout the whole season, David Kalas driving the boat down the river alongside him, Vernon Svanefeld and Mateusz Jedges, and Chris Witowski, our 4th EVS judge down there again, back this weekend, giving us all those insights, those replays.
Yeah, those replays are pretty critical, and the judge is already taking a look at the initiation and obviously the straightening in this. I'm really curious what's going on with that car, because when it was in drift, it looked pretty good. Just, it did not want to fire off. Just did not want to fire off.
So he zeroed that, so he's going to have to run a second qualifying.
So we're hearing from the judges that that was his first ever lap on the track.
Wow.
So
okay.
apparently the confused faces down in the paddock where they put in the spare engine in the car.
Okay.
So this is the first lap he had. So the engine failed in the first practice session this morning. They spent all day today putting a new engine in the car. So that was his first lap. So a little bit of a feeler. We go back on the line to the final of the 3 Trinity Racing GTA 6s. This one is going to be piloted by Amanda Sorensen from the USA, from Las Vegas. 2JZ, 1,000 horsepower. She's the most powerful one of all of them.
Yeah, well, I mean, see what she can do with it. I mean, she has a massive pedigree from like karting to side by side. Obviously, a lot of drifting stuff. Doing work with Chip Ganassi, like incredible pedigree for her age, and I mean, really coming alive in practice as well. So, a lot of weight on her shoulders here, a lot of eyes on her, but I'm excited to see how she's able to put down.
Yeah, exactly that. She stares over to our start line light, a deep breath as she fires off the line in this incredible 1,000 horsepower Toyota GTA 6, lights the tyres up, big flick across the circuit, gets into it, big handbrake drag, and that messes her up, and that puts her on the wrong line. She gets into outside zone a little late, and she now picks up that inner zone and looks for that inner zone 3. Back across the circuit she goes into outside zone 4, a very long outside zone, plenty of time to get yourself in there. You can see her on the left foot brake, pushing the back end as close as she can to the wall, picks up outside zone 5, nice transition back, little dab of the handbrake, not too much slowing, the judges all like that. She balances that car on the foot brake against the wall as Amanda Sorensen wavers in that final outside zone and across the line.
Yeah, a little bit of hesitation here and there, just trying to get to terms with it, and it's tough too, because you can be in practice and have an incredible set of runs, everything feels great, and then when it comes to go time, you know, there's just that little bit more pressure. But once she got this car settled, it looked really solid. Just getting into a few of these zones, this is a great shot of that bit of hesitation to fully commit into the wall. And that's the other part with this too, is this is not a forgiving track at any corner. So there's going to be that feeling of like, okay, I need to point, you know, this car directly at the wall, swing the back end around at the last minute, and hopefully everything lines up. And if that doesn't, you're either way off the wall, or we're calling the trucks.
It's wheels off.
Yeah, and wheels off literally mean coming off the car when it comes to this facility.
Yeah, there's very limited areas of this circuit where you can go wheels off circuit. And
yeah.
I mean, look, if it's near the wall, it is literally pulling the wheel off the car. We've seen it in practice today. We've seen it before in the past. And we like to call this track the Octagon because, you know, when 2 guys enter there to battle it out, it is a fight till the end. Someone's going to come out the winner, and someone will come out a little bit battered and bruised.
Yeah, so maybe a cautious run to get things started, and then we'll see her really push the pace and push a bit more commitment through the rest of the run. But yeah, it's tough. It's a completely different way of driving in a facility like this, and we start to see more and more fans stream in.
Certainly is. Well, there we go, a 66 on the board for Amanda Sorensen. She'll probably go back to the pits, reassess, look back over the broadcast and see where she went wrong. We go back on the line to Alan Hines from Ireland. 29 years of age, 2JZ, 600 horsepower Nissan Silvia S15, built by James Dean. And Alan Hines lucky enough this weekend to be given the opportunity to drive this car after serious crash in Ireland with his own car. Look at this as Alan Hines flexes the carbon Kevlar on the back of this S15 against the wall, puts the car where it needs to be. Look at that, very close to the wall, flirting with danger is Alan Hines as he now sticks it to outside zone 4 as he puts the car right against the wall once again, balances it on the foot brake, locks up the front wheel, picks up outside zone 5, and it's a nice line across the circuit into 6. Nice arc, hardly any braking from Alan Hines as he comes back through his smoke cloud. He slows the car down massively in outside zone 7 and across the line.
I mean, a solid run from Alan Hines. He is one of the most prolific sim drifters in the world, and coming from the Hines name, when it comes to drifting, that name carries a lot of weight, but it also means that he's got, I mean, the grandfather of drift, is that what we go with Kieran? Granddad? I mean, yeah, but it just also means that his ability to be technical, his ability to understand the kinematics of this sport are some of the best in the world, and getting to now see him once again on the big stage. Ireland didn't go so well for him, having that big hit, but now in a world-class built car in one of the craziest facilities and really putting on a good show here. So a few little corrections here or there, but overall, this is the Alan Hines I was expecting to see in Ireland, and it kind of got robbed from us because of that incident. And I mean, yeah, big left foot brake there, but that's kind of it. At least in my mind.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think the big amount of left foot brake into outside zone 7 was kind of what the judges didn't want to hear. We did hear a little groan across the commentary booth judging area from the judges, because I don't think it was needed. Okay. Personally, I think he could have stayed in it and kept that car where it needs to be. I think he just kind of wanted to stand on, maybe dial some angle in and put the car where it needed to be. And there we go, a 94.5 on the board, and Alan Hines already drops us into the 90s. And the prediction was, I'm going to put it out there, that this weekend we may see a top 32 of all 90s.
That number, 94.5, was the highest qualifying score last year.
Wow, there you go.
There you go. That number holds. That's a big number.
Then we go back on the line. We go to our first Finnish driver of the weekend. It is Timo Sunma, M50 B28 turbo, 807 horsepower, BMW 46 coupe. As he comes off the line, flicks it left to right, puts that car where it needs to be. Nice initiation from Timo as he stands on the accelerator. Now starts swerving on the throttle even more as he picks up that inside zone, but comes a little shy, backs away from the wall, now puts it back into that outside zone very long as he dials on the angle, trying to find the proximity of the back end of that BMW to the wall. We've got a big tyre fire on the back of that car as he flicks it. Self-extinguishes though as he now puts it into outside zone 6 on the throttle once again for Sunma as he dials on the angle for the final outside zone and across the line.
Yeah, big tire fire there. So really interesting. I mean, to get that to happen, especially on a track like this, which seems to be relatively smooth. He's got a lot of stuff going on. I'm seeing a ton of wheel speed. He's obviously got the grip. Maybe not the fastest run that we've seen all the way through, but...
Well, once again this weekend, we have our good friends from Race Data Labs with us, and we got the Wally system on the roof of the car. So if you're looking at that little box, that little black box right there on the top of the car, and you wonder what it is, that is our GPS tracking system from Race Data Labs. We have Wally in the building this weekend, and they feed that information directly to us and the judges. It's used as a judging aid in certain situations. Right. It's not the be-all and end-all. Not until it replaces the judges.
I don't think that's going to happen.
But that's never going to happen.
No, we need them. Imagine how boring this booth would be
without the judges. Yeah, we couldn't have no fun, me and you.
It's not fun hanging out with an AI.
But so what's Wally telling us? Who's the fastest so far? Biggest angle? I mean, look, Sunma had a good max angle.
Yeah, 81.3 degrees on that run. But for average speed, sitting around about 61 kilometers per hour. So maybe not the fastest, and not a bad score though, 84.5. I did look it up. Last year the cutoff was 83.5. Yeah. So it's going to give you an idea of where we were at last year.
I'm thinking we're going to see some high scores, but we go back onto the line from what I believe. Now I could be wrong. Yeah, I've been wrong in the past, once before. Our first ever Brazilian driver is João Barrion, driving a Ford Mustang, a supercharged Coyote motor underneath the bonnet, 600 horsepower. Big impact with the wall in practice. The team hustled together, got the car repaired, and he's back out once again. Now for qualifying, João Barrion, a man that drives in Formula Drift most of the time, and said that one of his goals, one of his dreams as a driver was to be here at Drift Masters, and he's here this weekend. He looks like he's doing a pretty good job so far as he puts the back end of that Ford Mustang into that outside zone, opens up the throttle now, 600 horsepower being unleashed towards the tarmac as João Barrion puts it back again once into this outside zone. looks for the wall, finds it with the back bumper, stands on the foot brake, dials on the angle, falls out of that final outside zone a little early, but gets it across the line.
Yeah, super cool to see Joao over on this side of the pond, and seeing him in the Mustang is a big breath of fresh air. Struggled a lot overseas with the Corvette, where they basically developed it as they went, whereas this car, much more at home with it, and you can see that this car was stuck in customs forever. They only got this in very, very late last night.
Was it like 50 days?
It was something like that, yeah. And then it was a 30-hour drive from the docks to here. His team was able to do it, got everything running. They had a backup car in place, but this is his home car. Getting this all the way over from Brazil, this is huge. You and I have talked about, both privately and publicly, how Brazil is really, really coming up in drifting, and Joao is one of the biggest drivers there. And yeah, just seeing him drive like this is really, really cool. So I'm nerding out a little bit because he's somebody I've known for a number of years, and it's just great to see him on form, even though that car, I mean, that damage to the wall, that thing is it's pretty beat up.
It's already a little battered and bruised. It's already looking a little tired. But look, you know, they have this evening and tomorrow to work on the car if they need to, if he gets himself into the show. But look, Joe Barrion, a really nice guy. It was a pleasure to meet him for the first time this weekend, and so humble and so nice. And as you say, a huge following from Brazil, and one of the biggest names to come out of drifting in Brazil.
Yeah, great guy. And not too bad of a score for that first run.
No, a 76.5 for Joe Barrion. And that'll be a very good score to settle the nerves, as we like to say here at Drift Masters. Get himself in there, as now the seats start to fill. 20,000 people this weekend here just for qualifying, as we amp up the numbers tomorrow and we pack out the stadium for a sold-out house. We go back on the line to a man from the United States who did a full season of Drift Masters in 2024, is the one and only Adam LZ, 2JZ BMW 36-900 horsepower from Orlando in Florida, comes off the line. This man third on the podium here last year. What can he do this weekend as LZ puts the back end of that BMW into the outside zone? Very comfortable here at Drift Masters, tickles the front bumper along the wall as now LZ sets himself up beautiful in this long outside zone, smushes the back bumper, takes the back end and the boot lid and the whole shebang out the back of it as he now fires himself in to outside zone 6, collects the throttle once again as LZ sets himself up for outside zone 7, back end into the wall and across the line.
Yeah, no doubt on this one. I mean, all the way through, very comfortable back in this car. And to me, one of the coolest parts of this is the correction that he makes on the inside clip at the wall and actually pushes a little bit harder through it. We'll get to it here in the replay because it's such a crazy move to pull, because you're already facing the wall and then he kind of decides to drive into it to really push that proximity even further. As we can see how many phones are out for this run. A very iconic moment. I mean, this is it. This is the spot right here. Look at, pulls it in even more to try and get closer to that wall. So that's a tough correction to make in a very risky spot, but manages to do it well. Maybe not perfect, but definitely really, really well. So it feels like it was yesterday when he was standing on the podium here.
I know,
right?
We did a bit of a flashback and look back at the podium from 2024, sorry, and it was good to see Adam here after a very hard-fought year in Europe, his first ever program in Europe. With his own car and you know, shipping everything over and running that whole team here at Drift Masters, and so good to have Adam LZ back at Drift Masters as a wild card for the final. Looking good and the car looking good. Apparently the Wally system telling me that he is the fastest man on circuit.
I'm not shocked by that. Not shocked by that at all. Yeah, so average speed 68 kilometers per hour at top speed of 83. So that is a fairly big jump.
There we go, score drops in, an 89.5 for Adam LZ on that first qualifying run. He'll be happy with that to get one in the books. We go back on the line to Bartosz Ostalowski from Poland, from Krakow, in this BMW E92 LS3. Now, you probably see the door was open. Now, Bartosz, if you haven't heard the story, had a motorbike accident many, many years ago, lost both of his arms, unfortunately, learned to drift with his feet, adapted a car to work on a paddle shift situation with his shoulder. So he drives his car with his shoulder and his feet. He steers the car with his feet. Unbelievable driver, incredible determination to never give up.
Yeah, and oversteer on that one. Unfortunately, not the run he's looking for, one that's more or less conducive to his ability, because he's an incredible driver. No matter what he is fighting, you remove every obstacle in his way, and he's still a world-class driver.
He certainly is. Look, to even make it round there, you know, you couldn't even drive around there in the rental car.
100% good.
No, we stopped you.
Yeah, I
because
know.
we were so scared.
There's a lot of cars left with keys in them in the parking lot, so I figured I'd give it a go.
But look, you know, unbelievable story of Bartosz there, and just getting it wrong ever so slightly on that inner zone. He said this track's difficult for him. The amount of times the steering wheel has to revolve on the transitions. He said it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean,
so many memories, and you know, life just passes you by so quick. You can't put into words.
the difficult part is having to kind of release and recatch that wheel through these transitions while staying on throttle. So a lot of things going on. I might take a bit of a tour there to really understand how this control system works, because I've seen a lot of in-car and I'm still scratching my head as to how he's able to do this.
I mean, if you haven't followed the story of Bartosz, get online, have a look. Incredible story, and just to see the work that's gone into the car is phenomenal. And there we go, score drops in, it will be a 0. Yeah, that amount of straightening and that big amount of understeer coming into outside zone 4, not what the judges are looking for. We go back on the line to a man that, well, a lot of Pippin saying that he could win this event, he could top qualifying. 16 years of age, from Japan, from Tokyo, is the one and only Hiro Minar. 2JZ, 800 horsepower S15, built by the one and only James Dean this weekend, sporting that Red Bull livery as he comes off the line. Hiro now fires that car in, look at this. Already incredible from the young 16-year-old driver, predominantly driving in Formula Drift in America, as he now puts that bumper right towards the wall, as Hiroa now fires into outside zone 4, picks up the throttle, puts the back end, just tickles the tail light on the wall, as Hiroa puts on a masterclass right now. He couldn't be any better. What can he do? As he comes into the final 2 outside zones, he looks absolutely textbook and clinical. He's put on a masterclass out there and throwing up the signs, and the rest of Driftmaster saying, what have you got? As he puts a 360 into motion and fires it across the line.
This is how he has looked since his second run.
Yeah.
And this is one of the most magical drivers we've got in the sport right now. I mean, if you've been watching him drive, qualifying, I mean, we actually really haven't got to see him do that much qualifying over in the States just because of the different system there. So his real magic comes alive in the chase, that he's able to adapt to whatever he needs to do in order to beat the other driver. But this is really incredible, and you can see how precise his lead run is. Look at that front tire. It makes the smallest corrections, but it's not even needed. Look at how relaxed he is, how smooth these transitions are, how precise they are, and then completely locked in again. No panicking, nothing, on the rev limiter. Doesn't matter the engine, doesn't matter the chassis. I want to call him a child because it feels that way at his age, but this driver, this motorsports athlete, you're looking at the future of drifting right now.
You certainly are.
Yeah.
Look, I spoke to James Dean earlier in the paddock and had a good chat with him, and I said it's crazy because it's like watching James Dean drive his own car.
Yeah.
He's that good.
It's very similar, and you'll see this, I'm already calling it, you'll see this in top 32, where whoever he's up against, he will drive in a very similar style that they do and try and pick up the zones in a better way than that driver did. It is uncanny. So very, very excited. I mean, judges picking their jaws up.
They're delivering this one. Here we go. Scores in a 95.5 on the board for Hiroa, and he tops qualifying at the moment and puts a higher score on the board than we see in 2024.
Already.
Incredible stuff. We go back on the line to Edward Alexander Husa from Norway. Nissan 206 2JZ GTE 1010 horsepower every single horsepower. All of them. So we go off the line, very aggressive start for Edward Alexander as he fires that car from left to right, steps himself up nicely in his outside zone. On the foot brake now, dials the back end towards the boards. He now needs to come in and collect that inside zone. He does beautifully as he puts the car to angle. It's a nice line so far from Edward Alexander as he puts the back end now into outside zone 4. A little wavering though, off the wall quite a bit. Judges will be looking at that as they start to remove points from the score. Balances the car across the circuit, full throttle on the transition. It's very nice there, heavy on the foot brake, but then puts the back bumper and the spoiler right up against the wall in that final outside zone and across the line.
Just another incredible driver coming out of Norway. There's so many places now where we look across the globe and go, where is the next driver coming from?
Scandinavia.
I mean, Norway has produced so many incredible drivers, and a bunch of them we've got to see here. We still get to see here. But yeah, I mean, Edward is just another young gun coming up, 18 years old, and just, man, very, very precise. Has that Scandinavian flick coming out. A lot of the confidence that we see in the Norwegians, that little bit of craziness that arrives as well, and a solid run throughout this. A few spots where you could see just maybe not having the total confidence to be able to get into those zones, that little bit of left foot braking before he gets into it to kind of set things up. But overall, solid run, solid stats coming off the wall. He's 72 kilometers an hour for the max speed, average angle around 46. So pretty mid-pack is where that's coming up overall. And curious once again how that lines up with the less digital judges that we've got here in person.
How do you know they're not digital?
I think. Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know.
They don't. Yeah, they could be.
And 83 dead on the board there for Edward Alexander Husa. As he gets the job done in his first qualifying run, we go back on the line to Lukas Tazemski from Poland, representing the hometown. Sits in the car, big breath as he slams that car into gear. Ambassador for the virtual Drift Masters comes off the line through the gears as Lukas Tazemski made his debut here at Drift Masters last year in 2024, and back once again as a wild card for 2025. Very nice line. This man would have drove this car and this track a million times on the simulator, and look at that, very close to the full wall with the front bumper as he balances the back end now into this outside zone. It's a real textbook line. You can see the guys that have done a lot of laps on the simulator before they've come here this weekend, because they are absolutely clinical, and it's a really nice line into outside zone 6 as he goes for outside zone 7, shallows up the angle, now starts to dial it in, and Tazemski gets it across the line, and it's job done.
Yeah, besides that one little wall tap, I mean, this looks very, very close to an Alan Hines run, which all of these drivers coming from the virtual side of things, Manoa, another, maybe not competing as much, but spends so much time, drifting virtually. But yeah, this is just another very, very solid run. Man, it's already tough to start picking apart little pieces of it. Maybe a little bit too much commitment into the wall is really the only thing, but the transitions are always very smooth. What I've found a lot with the drivers that spend a ton of time in sim, they're not always the fastest. They're usually dialed back just a little bit, but the car always looks very comfortable to drive.
Yeah.
They're smooth, they're precise.
Very settled.
Yes, very, very settled. And I don't know if that is one thing leading to another coming from the sim side of things, where they set their cars up a lot that way to be a bit more neutral, or they just want to get through the run. But it's just a trend that I'm more or less seeing coming out of that world. But yeah, for Lukas, that's just a very, very clean run. Is not a lot of drama, a little bit of aggression there into the wall, just very clean and textbook.
And I mean, we like to see that, because we're trying to break down the best 32 lead runs.
Right.
That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, and really, I mean, the only other part is that left foot brake, which I think kind of came into play there as we take a look at, the style score coming back a little bit on that one.
Yeah, there we go, an 86 down on the ball there for Lukas Tazemski. You're back on the line to a man from the United States of America, from San Jose, is Matt Field. All the way over from America, stares across the line, driving the Drift Force Kazoo Racing A90 Supra this weekend, and there's a big story behind that, but we won't get into that right now. As we see Fields tag the wall, keeps himself in it though, and it looks like he's done some damage to that rear wheel, and the track may be evolving ever so slightly after that break between his practice session and the last one. Nice line though, along outside zone 4, now starts to collect outside zone 5, and you can see the damage on that rear wheel. He's going to keep in it though, as Matt Field goes for outside zone 6. It's a clean line, and Field absolutely dialed in, touches the foot brake, puts the bumper to the wall, and Field looks like he's flying.
Call him the beast from the Bay for a reason. He is one of the most aggressive drivers we've got coming out of the U.S. Always goes at it hard, comes out of every single run. I mean, just at it, and you can see they're getting a bit too aggressive into that outside zone, and unfortunately tapping the wall, but decides to finish out that run. Why not, right? Is it complete, incomplete? I don't know.
This is what I was just going to say. I mean, look, you could bail out of that run, shut it down, drive off the track and say, look, I'll save it for the second one. But it all comes down to whether the judges deem it, an incomplete. Because if they don't, and you bailed out,
you just wasted it.
You've just wasted what could have been, we're guesstimating.
Yeah.
A 90 could be the cutoff. We don't know. We have no idea.
Yeah, we're just
speculating.
No idea about I think you're close to that, though.
But I think we're going to be close to it. But if this score was, say, an 86, an 87, it could be in the show with the first run.
Yeah, I agree. And, I mean, this is already the fastest run we've seen, 85 kilometers an hour going into that initiation, fastest spot in the track, and pretty indicative of Matt Field. He is very, very aggressive, loves driving with a ton of speed. You can see, that looks like a bent wheel or something going on there.
Yeah.
But solid outside of that wall tab. This is, I mean, very, very much Matt Field. Supra, we'll get into it on his next run. Yeah, as you said, very interesting story about this car. But electing to go
and the whole story. And the whole story.
All of it is just really great. And I mean, fans bringing out all the mascots. Not sure.
Yeah,
not sure who the mascot is of that, but
is Swan?
Maybe.
Duck?
Somebody's a silly goose.
Oh, is that what it is? There we go, 73.5. So Matt Field was right to stay in it. Judges did give him a score for that run, and you never know, it could be enough to get you in the show. Who knows? As we move on, we go back to the start line to Mads Andresen from Denmark, BMW E92 M3 Eurofighter, and it is a V8 turbo BMW engine underneath the bonnet, about 1,850 horsepower.
There's a one in there. I don't know.
I don't know if that's a one in there or not. It may be. It wouldn't surprise me. Here we go, though, as he now fires through middle of the circuit. Really nice line, good transition. You can see the way he used the weight to flick the car across the track into outside zone 4. Balances that car perfectly on the foot brake as he now waits to get that car right to the edge of the circuit before then picking up the transition. Doesn't slow the car down too much either as he gets back on the throttle into outside zone 6. Now starts to slow the car down. Needs to really let it go off the foot brake, and he does as he gets it across the line. Yeah,
solid run. I mean, if that was 1,850 horsepower, I'd expect it to be a little bit quicker, but I think it's a typo on our side. But either way, very, very clean run there from Mads. I really like the way that this car is set up. I mean, it's a little bit more on knife edge. Look at that. Get that bumper right into that wall. You know, judges asking for you just to be kissing that wall all the way around with the rear bumper. Everybody's going to take a bit different of an interpretation. And for Mads, the left foot brake, trying to get that back end around. Looked like he was about to sail into the wall, so good correction on that. But yeah, using the weight in the transfer, really interesting. And for a lot of these BMWs, I mean, look at that. So gets on that transfer, you can see the front end dip down, picks up that grip through it, so he's not understeering, and then back on throttle, very smooth to get it out to angle, and that left foot brake. So I do think seeing those lights flashing on and off as the driver's using that middle pedal might be a bit much. What a great shot. That is like from a 90s music video.
There you go, an 84.5 drops in Mads Andresen from Denmark.
Amazing to see how much he's been around too.
Oh, look at this.
Ooh,
look,
locked
Honor
in.
Shanahan in the grandstand watching everyone else's runs.
Man.
A man, there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders, leading the championship. Go back on the line, though, to Timo Peltola from Finland. And no, he's not driving the wagon this weekend.
No.
Yes, it is in the paddock, but he's decided to drive the baby Benz, they like to call it, this weekend as he comes off the line. Taking a different approach for the final round as Timo Peltola, the showman, puts the back end into the wall. Very nice line there from Peltola as he now goes for that front zone, picks it up beautifully. Look at the line from Peltola. He's absolutely flying into outside zone 4. He goes almost all of that Mercedes-Benz in to that outside zone 4. Nice line across the circuit as he works to throttle. That's right, that is, again, another diesel-powered Mercedes-Benz as Peltola goes for that final outside zone on the foot brake, dials on the angle. Peltola has never looked so good.
Is this the match we've been waiting for? Is this the driver and car combo that he's needed?
There's been a lot of chat in the paddock around what car Peltola uses.
Right.
Okay, there's been a lot behind the scenes of people saying, if only he would put that power plant in a different chassis or a different size car, would it be beneficial? You know what? I'm going to say yeah.
Question answered.
Because
100%.
look at that.
This is great. And I don't know, I mean, the wagon's been around for a little bit. This is a brand new build. The wagon's been beaten up a lot.
It's his brand. Okay.
Right. Stick with the Mercedes. I get all that. I get the diesel. I mean, if there's no, maybe I'm the third biggest diesel fan in this crowd right now. Timo's first.
I'd say you're probably the first.
Okay. But this looks phenomenal. This looks like...
We haven't seen him drive that good all year.
No, he has struggled all season, and the wagon has struggled all season with mechanicals and strange crashes and things breaking. Fresh build, chassis that's not beat up, everything's mechanically there. The engine is solid. It seems simpler. He's not got all the pops and bangs and all the craziness that was going on in the wagon. This is it. This is the Peltola that we've been waiting for.
And look at this, an 88.5 on the board for Peltola. And I'm going to say it now. If we see him return in 2026, could we see him in a different chassis once again? We go back on the line to a man that was the former Drift Masters champion. 2017, this man took the championship. He's had a rough ride since then. It is the one and only Adam Zanewski from Poland. An S58 powered Toyota GT86, 1,000 horsepower, comes off the line. as Adam Zalewski looks for some redemption, and the car doesn't do it, shuts it down, and has to reinitiate. And I don't think it's going to, no, and it isn't. The car isn't going to play ball.
Something is wrong there. So, looking to see if maybe an axe. I think I saw a bit of something pop out as we get a shot, potentially a spotter and some, people that are close to him. So,
yeah, family there and spotter on the radio straight away, trying to find out what's going on. And did you spot something come out of the back of the car?
On a second shot there, when we were pretty low, it looked like a bit of metal or something popped out, but.
Well, there we go. We need to make it official. It will be a 0 for the first run there of qualifying for Adam Zalewski.
Yeah, tough to see if maybe it's a CV or something. I don't know if it popped out of gear. It was just really weird.
Yeah, very strange indeed. We go back on the line to the man from Great Britain. It is the one and only Steve Biaggioni. Decided this weekend to bring the very famous Nissan Silvia PS13. And said that he feels very comfortable driving this car in stadium events. Now, Steve's been driving this car for many, many years. Drove this car at the first ever stadium event in Drift Masters in 2018. And he said, when I get into this car in a stadium event in Poland at Drift Masters, I feel like I'm at home.
It's amazing how many drivers are changing up cars for
just
round.
this event.
Just this event.
And I'll tell you something now. Bagsy in this car and a stadium in front of a big crowd, he's a showman.
Yeah.
Could be dangerous.
It's a little scary.
He's got some more power underneath the bonnet this weekend. He's now running 890 horsepower. That V8 supercharged screams as Bagsy fires in that PS13 and puts the bumper onto the wall, flexes the tailgate. Not sure how the judges are going to like that much. It was a little heavy on that front. But now he comes into it, picks up that front inside zone, back across the track into outside zone 4, works the back end along the wall, and it's a little heavy contact. I'm not sure what the judges are going to say of that. Bagsy goes reckless as he fires the car back onto the wall once again, slows it down the foot brake as he absolutely destroys the back of the PS13 into the wall and across the line.
One of the biggest conversations that we had last night, one of the reasons why we were here so late, is how much do you want to be in the wall?
Yeah.
What the drivers want, what the judges want, what should be going on when it comes to the back bumper into the wall. And there's a lot of interesting things that came out of that conversation and modifications. To me, Bagsy was really into the wall. He was on it. I mean, his back wheel, if that was a shorter bumper, his back wheel was basically about to touch it.
Yeah. Well, look, we know that Bagsy has the Toyota GT86, 2JZ, 1,000 horsepower. Drove that car in Germany, drove that car in Spain at round 2.
Yeah.
Decided to come back for the final in a different chassis because he said the overhang on the walled circuits, the car that I like to drive on a walled circuit is what I prefer.
Yeah.
And there was big discussion last night in the driver's briefing. Are you better off with a car with some overhang? Are you better off with a shorter chassis? There's been a lot of chat around the whole paddock and behind the scenes of what's better for this event.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe he's still driving it like the 8.6.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
77.5 drops in. I'm going to say that was contact with the wall was a little bit too aggressive, and all of the judges look at me and nod and say, you're getting it. You're finally understanding what drifting's about. Here we go, back on the line. Dave Egan steps up to the mark. Dave Egan, 2 laps of practice. The alternator failed in the first practice session. In the second practice session, the alternator failed again and shut the car down.
America's Game of the Week might be the game of the year.
These are the moments that we play for.
Eagles.
Let's go!
Chiefs in a Super Bowl rematch. It all starts with a special pregame show Sunday on Fox.
From the 2JZ as Dave Egan fires the car across the circuit, nice line into outside zone 6, opens up the throttle, collects it nicely, gets on the foot brake once again in outside zone 7, fires it across the line, job done.
Yeah, getting those nerves out of the way, having a bit of a safe run like that. Now, I'd say safe, but I mean, it was really solid. Dave does a great job of getting the proximity into the walls, although, as you alluded to a little bit earlier on, few of those corrections, a few spots where I think he kind of realized where he was on track and had to make that correction. The inside clips look good. It's such a tough thing to do, especially pointing it right at the wall. And there's the inside for Dave. Locked in, looking very far ahead on the runs. Great job on that. Good racecraft with that. Getting the tire right into the wall.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just a lot of conversation to be had around that, especially once we get down to our final couple of drivers, some fun stories popping up. But for me, Dave does a really solid job on this for a driver that's had barely any laps when it comes to this facility in real life.
Yeah, certainly so. And there we go, nice and close to the wall there as our wall cam comes into play. A 79.5 for Dave Egan on that first qualifying run. And I'm going to see how things play out as we move through competition.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be enough. I really don't. Like I said, that cutoff last year, 83.5. Things already looking better. So it's going to be tough for Dave.
Well, we're going to see. We're going to see how that evolves as we go through competition. George Christoforou from Cyprus sits on the line, BMW E82 1 Series S50 Turbo underneath the bonnet, 1100 horsepower. A lot of work being done on this car in the paddock before qualifying, a lot of alignment checks and the engine tuner plugging in and making sure everything was up to scratch and in health as Christoforou now puts the back bumper towards the wall, picks up that inside zone. A little deep though, to be fair, and he's going to struggle. He does struggle to get all of that inside zone 2. Now works his way around outside zone 4. Is a little shallow, keeping it off the wall. And this is going to come down to that conversation from the driver's briefing of where did the judges want you to be. As Christoforou looks for outside zone 6, stays on the throttle, nice line into outside zone 7, goes towards the wall for the last outside zone, but crossed the line.
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. We're seeing with this section of drivers right now, we're kind of into this mid-pack where they're playing it a bit safe on these first runs. I don't know if it's strategy, I don't know if it's nerves or what's going on with it, because even in practice, the few runs I did see from George were a lot more aggressive than this one. And even with Dave, the runs that he did get in, they were a bit more aggressive. So I'm curious if this is a bit more of like, okay, play this out. The other part that you alluded to, and some of the data is starting to show up, this track is now rubbering in a little bit more. The light is also changing. Because of the build of the stadium, the light traces a bit of a path around the track. So there's going to be different hotspots throughout basically qualifying. And even a change of 5-10 degrees Celsius, that is a massive difference in traction. So that's going to play a bit of a role, as well as some of the light in the eyes, although I don't think we're going to be getting any more of drivers kind of blinded by the sun through the rest of this. So for George, I mean, just get that run in, get those numbers on the board, but then come out absolutely swinging on your next one.
Yeah, certainly so. 74.5 for George Christoforou. I think there was nerves creeping into that run. That's what kind of, I was watching the replay back, it looked like there was some nerves, some Cypriot fans in the building. So guys travelling from all around the world this weekend. There's some cool stuff going on the Jumbotron tomorrow for you guys' entertainment. We go back on the line to Yves Meyer from Switzerland, Supra GR A90. B58, 1,080 horsepower, comes off the line. This man's driving has been getting more and more incredible. Oh! And that was a strange initiation, and he tags the wall as well, and it's another Supra tagging the wall from the Drift Force team as he now works his way into outside zone 4. I'm not sure what's going on there on that initiation. It seems like there's a few guys that have made those mistakes. We're going to get into that as we come through qualifying. Yves Meyer now looks for outside zone 6, stays in it, and the right decision. We see it with Matt Field as Yves Meyer looks for outside zone 7, collects it, puts the bumper towards the wall for the last part of the zone and across the line.
I'm not sure what you call it over here, but we like to call that crab walking. When you see the car do that, where it's hard to explain, but you'll see it again on this initiation because it's really strange, and there's a few things that can cause it, but yeah, it didn't show it as bad on that angle, but watch, see it? Where basically the whole car is just trying to come over completely sideways, but yeah, a bit of a correction, having to pull out of it a little bit. I think he just over committed on that initiation.
I'm going to say something.
Oh, please.
I'm going to say that the initiation point is grippier than what it has been all day.
Okay.
And if you watch the amount of momentum that was lost when Yves Meyer pulled the hydro into that initiation point, the car stalled up massively.
Interesting. I like that. I mean, the
car didn't really react to angle.
No.
Where you would automatically assume, flick the car, go for the handbrake. The car didn't turn into angle. If you watch it back on the replay, the front kind of wobbles, the back grips up, that's it. Then he has to rethink the initiation instantly.
The only thing I can point to is that the sun was baking that section of the track heavily earlier, and now it is kind of up further into the grandstands. So I think maybe the temps have come down a little.
Hi, this is Jim with Scherzer Insurance. We would love to help you with your auto, home, or business insurance. Give us a call today, 386-788-3500. We represent many companies as an independent insurance agent, and we'd love to help you. We shop, you save.
Kieran comes off the line deciding to put a fresh body kit on the car and make it look pretty once again for the final round. The Drift Masters as he hangs that spoiler over the wall, now brings the front end in. Clint Van Ort looking comfortable this weekend. Beautiful line from Clint Van Ort. Look at this as he dances the back end along the walls. Clint Van Ort now works his way around outside zone 4. And it's absolutely beautiful from Clint Van Ort. Dials on even more angle for outside zone 5 as he goes for outside zone 6. Just a little amount of slowing, but then back on the throttle once again. The Dutch driver, no messing around as he dials on the angle, clips the wall and gets it across the line.
Yeah, okay, two things. One, there is nothing cooler in drifting than a big wing in a wall track. I love it. I love the way like the end plates are scratched up against it. It's such OG throwback. Clint Van Ort looked absolutely solid in this run until the end where that back end just did not want to come around. Everything up until this point looks good. Look how aggressive it is. I mean, it's just everything in his driving is great. I mean, even the kind of the negative rate, the squat that he's got going on just to get that extra grip. Look at the amount of smoke he's making. And man, it looks so solid. I mean, he qualified 6th here last year. This is no surprise he's coming around like this, but watch. As he's coming around to this last zone, he is just lighting off and trying to get this car to come back around. And now it's pushing, gets on the left foot brake. It still doesn't want to come around. And that's when that pushes out into the wall. So he's making so much bite in this car. It just wants to go. But he kind of became a bit front limited. And some of that is the way that car is jacked backwards as well.
Exactly that. Well, there we go. An 88.5 for Clint Van Ort. Looking good. The Dutchman, we've seen him struggle all season. He'll be the first to admit he's not had the best season in 2025, but nevertheless, it's all starting to come together. A man that's also had a pretty poor season by his standards is Diogo Correia from Portugal, a man that's been plagued with engine issues all year, running that Mercedes M104 turbocharged engine, 1,000 horsepower, BMW E92. But today, looking good, looking strong. So confident, in fact, that when he was warming the tyres and doing a lap, he even waved to me out the window.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow, that's great.
There we go. Correia off the line, flicks this BMW left to right, starts to pick up the outside zone as Correia straight on the foot brake now works that front end in. The learning curve for all of them after they've done their first qualifying run. Look at that beautiful shot there from our Phantom slow-mo camera. Piscotty in the car, pedaling it around. Look at that front wheel locked and tyre smoke bailing from the back end of that E92. It just looks absolutely beautiful.
He's trying to like ABS it. You can tell he's
on and off,
finding that threshold. He feels it lock up, comes back off.
Well, here we go. Big score dropping in, a 92.5 for Kevin Piscotty, and he'll be happy with that after the first qualifying score. Drops him into 4th place at the moment, as now the 90s start to ramp up, and we're almost with top 10 with a 90.
Yeah, here we go. This is where that cutoff gets crazy.
It certainly will do. We go back on the line to Jakob Kroll, a Polishman from Lodz, not far up the road. 2JZ, 920 horsepower. San Silvia, S14.9, full carbon Kevlar. And Jakob Kroll, looking good, a man that has earned his rate here at Drift Masters, fires that car in where it needs to be, and another man that we've seen many times in stadium events, used to pilot a BMW E46 and make a change to the S chassis a few years ago, and now never would look back as Jakob Kroll puts it right towards the wall, and Kroll flexing that carbon Kevlar on and off with our painted wall there on that outside zone 4, fires through the middle of the circuit, looks for outside zone 6, and Jakob Kroll doing a good job as he once again puts the bumper towards wall. Jakob Kroll with a neon shining underneath the car and across the line.
Another driver going to more or less electing for that softer rear end in the car. Yeah. The front seems a little bit soft, but maybe not as bad, where he's really getting that car to squat out. The rebound is really quick. It pops back up again. It looks good. The hard part is when you do when you pull the handbrake, when you hit the front brake,
it's reactive.
It's reactive, and it broadcasts that to the judges.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'll tell you something about this track that a lot of drivers like, especially with chassis that aren't maybe as easier to drive. This track is almost dead flat.
Right.
There are a little bit here and there of changes.
Yeah.
We made this track in 2 days.
Yeah, there's a bit of like rain runoff, so things slope out a little bit towards the wall, which can actually kind of help set you in the groove. But yeah, having it like this. The other part too is because it is brand new asphalt, that rubbering in can be a little bit more predictable.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just really interesting. I did a track walk where I'm like trying to find anybody who laid down the asphalt to like figure out how they did it and what materials they're doing it with.
It's a secret.
Yeah, I know.
You'll never be allowed back if you find out.
What I found that was interesting though is even before we put laps down is how grippy it already felt.
Yeah.
But without it being rough, it was very smooth, but it still gripped quite well. So it's quite interesting.
Yep. That's all the information you're allowed.
You take a piece home.
There you go. 89 on the board for Jakob Groh. I'll be happy with that. First run under the belt, ready for this weekend. And this man would love nothing to be in the big show in front of all of these Polish fans. A man from Japan on the line right now. It's Naoki Nakamura, Toyota GR86 2JZ 900 and 900 horsepower. This on the line, this incredible car. This man, such a character at Drift Masters, said that he was so desperate to get back. What can he do here in the stadium? Oh, a little tag, you can see it just upset the car, but now works himself back into it again on the foot brake. Naoki Nakamura fires himself into outside zone 4, sets himself up lovely on the foot brake. Flirts with danger though. That will he get it this weekend? He's looking for a turn of fortune. He didn't get it in Germany, where he said he was feeling strong. This weekend he needs to put it all on the line as Connor Falvey puts the back end of that S15 Silvia towards the wall as Falvey stands on the foot brake and slows the car down massively. Kavia owns up the throttle through the
Old S chassis compact. It didn't come out in a lot of countries, but we've got one here today.
They made one in Finland.
They did. Well, I mean, they made it in Poland for the finish. It's a weird scenario, but I'm very, very curious how this plays out for him, because he was able to get pretty deep in all these zones, but there was a few spots where if those 12 inches were still there, he'd be dragging bumper. So it's an interesting decision, and ultimately, I mean, it's not up to us to see how it plays out. It's a very Lowry run. I mean, he's on throttle all the way through, banging it off the rev limiter, screaming all the way through. That Dodge NASCAR V8 is very iconic, and I'm sure for everybody sitting in the grandstands, there's a little bit of their hearing that was lost on that run.
And some jaws that were probably on the floor when they heard it for the first time inside a stadium.
It vibrated my water bottle when I was out there earlier. Like, it was just shaking in my hand, so...
Well, there we go, a 93 on the board, and it seems like everything that Laurie Heinonen needed to do worked. Gets himself into 6th place at the moment, and Heinonen will be happy with that as we now get in towards the top 4 of the championship, and it's Paweł Korpolinski up next from Poland, from Warsaw. The hometown hero is on the line and ready to rock and roll. Nissan Silvia S14, 2JZ 900 horsepower. And we like to call him the surgeon, because he is clinical. Now, will he be clinical here in qualifying? We expect nothing less from this man. His lead lines are absolutely flawless. What can Korpolinski do as he stares down the visor and he looks and he flicks the car in big aggressive flick to angle on initiation as Korpolinski now opens up the throttle, fires the car through, and it's very aggressive from Korpolinski as he puts the back bumper towards the wall once again. He's come out here this weekend absolutely swinging as a Polishman. He wants this one. He wants a podium here in Poland. And what can he do as he flicks it towards outside zone 6? He's there nice and early as he opens up the throttle. Korpolinski on an absolute flyer as he lets it go, puts a bumper towards the wall and across the line.
We always talk to him about this, both on the show and in person, that once he gets his style figured out, once he gets that molded, he's a top 3 driver every time. Now, you're only picking up 5 points for initiation, but he definitely got all of them on that one. Style is coming into play for Korpolinski's game, and everybody should be put on notice now because he's driving far more aggressive. He's taking more risks. I mean, the Korpolinski of last year, or even earlier this season, would never have initiated that way. He would have, kind of floated the car in, got it to the perfect angle, held it there, set the car on cruise control, and just rocked through the rest of it. We still see that commitment. Look at that. A very, very small correction to get it back out to the perfect line. But there is more aggression than we've ever seen. A little bit of wavering there for Korpolinski, which kind of rare for him. But I'm liking how he's developing. I'm liking the aggression we're seeing out of him and taking a bit more of a risk than he normally would.
He certainly is, and the clinic was laid on by the surgeon, and I think he's going to be rewarded. It was a very, very nice run, super aggressive, and it is rewarded. It's a 94.5 for Paweł Korpolinski from Warsaw, and all the Polish fans around the building are clapping and waving the flags because, well, why not? And the flags are up for this young man, another guy from Estonia. It is Kevin Pasur, 3rd in the championship. Yeah. 4th. In the championship.
It's okay.
Sorry, there's one more driver on the other sheet. I couldn't see it. 4th in the championship. He would love nothing more than to be 3rd in the championship. What can he do this weekend? As he comes off the line, BMW M2, M50 Turbo, 1,000 horsepower. Kevin Pasur, been on the podium before at Drift Masters, would love nothing more than to do it here in Poland as he flicks it across the circuit. It's a nice line from Kevin Pasur. Hasn't seemed to get the job done for most rounds, but now back into the zone, back on form as Kevin Purser fires in to outside zone 5 and in to 6 as he dabs a handbrake, and it works perfectly for him. As Kevin Purser from Estonia absolutely rocking around outside zone 7 and across the line. Look at that, hand up. He knew that was a good run.
Yeah, he's gotten to this place due to consistency. Every round he is consistent, maybe not taking all the risks to be the top driver. And that's the difference between the drivers that do well in the series and the drivers that win the series. It's the drivers that are willing to risk stuff. Consistency has gotten Purser where he is at now. We need to see a little bit more of craziness out of him. He's very calm and collected. This run is right edging on it. You can tell he wants to take a couple of risks here and there where he wants to be a bit more aggressive, but his line is phenomenal. Maybe a little bit more on style, but for Kevin Purser, it's these little things that as he's growing as a driver, as he's competing more and more, we'll start to see come out of him. But a really, really solid run from him. I mean, he's only 26. And he's grown up so much in the last couple of years. Another driver that I think is very close to that championship. He's in striking position for top 3 for sure.
Yeah, he certainly is. I mean, like, look, a good result this weekend, he could overtake James Dean and take 3rd in the championship. That's where he'd like to be.
Yeah, and I have all the faith in the world that he can do it. The car's been great. Knocking on wood there, hopefully that got picked up. It's been consistent, so is he. And we'll see how that goes.
Wow. And he drops in a 96 dead on the board as Kevin Purser lights up the scoreboard and impresses the judges. And that's a big one in the bag for Kevin Purser. That's what he came out here to do. But Ireland stands strong right now as we start an onslaught of Irish drivers.
With Thrivent, your personal finances aren't just personal. We use money as a tool to help all the people we hold in our hearts. Because the most important thing isn't what you're planning for, it's who. Thrivent, where money means more.
Game right now as James Dean puts on the line that Ford Mustang Spec 5 Drift Masters car on the line. Here he goes as he gets himself into outside zone 4. James Dean absolutely flawless at the moment, puts the bumper where it needs to be, looks for outside zone 5, fires this big Mustang across the circuit as he lights up the tyres. The V8 screams as Dean comes back through the smoke, the headlights shining, bumper to wall and across the line.
The question now is, does that take out a 96? Does that have every element it needs to have to take out a 96? Judges already going blasting through this replay to look for a flaw in this run. And from first glance, I can't find any. It is wild. It's so precise. He knows where every single centimeter of that car is at any single moment. It is a massive car. If you've never been near it, it is so big. And look at, man, look how fast the walls are coming by.
The wheel was nearly on the wall on transition, the front wheel.
Yeah, it's nuts. I'm very much running out of words to describe how he's able to drive because it's incredible. And the only things that have taken James out have been very strange mechanical.
Yeah.
Just little stuff like the belt. That belt I'm sure haunts him and his team and was kind of the definitive moment of not being able to take home a championship here. But man, this run though, he touched the left foot brake. There's a correction. There he did it again. I got nothing else, man. That's it.
You're all out of words. Look, for a team that built this car in Ireland in just 2 months, and then shipped it to Italy for round 1 that unfortunately was cancelled at Drift Masters. This car has been pretty much flawless. A few mechanicals, and he drops in a 96.5. The judges are impressed, and James Dean takes top spot in qualifying at the moment. And could this be the tail of the tape as the Irish flags are waving and the hands are in the air from the Irish fans? But the Irish onslaught doesn't stop there. It's Jack Shanahan up next, a man that is in the fight for the championship. We know that Dean can't win it, but the man from Killavullen, from Cork, could. Is Jack Shanahan, 26 years old, GT86 off the line, 2JZ. What has he got as he fires it in? Shanahan on the throttle nice and early, looks for the wall, puts the GT86 where it needs to be. As Shanahan now opens up the throttle, he goes closer to the wall than Dean as he puts it back onto the wall once again. He's into this outside zone, there's no correction. Look at the front wheel, it's barely moved an inch as Jack Shanahan absolutely dialed on that perfect qualifying line, fires it across the circuit on the foot brake nice and early into outside zone 6. We can't can't even see him through smoke as Shanahan goes for outside zone 7 and across the line.
That is wild. I mean, the family in tow. That is his 81-year-old grandfather making the trip over. His grandmother watching from home. The whole Irish section in this stadium absolutely going wild. Jack Shanahan driving aggressive, putting in, I mean, they struggled a little bit through practice. I even watched them loop out on a run. I've never seen Jack Shanahan spin. And they were fighting through mechanicals, but this is a driver, once again, driving with a bit of aggression, a little frustration. I don't know what he's mad at, but it's working for him all the way through. Oh, man, just another insane run from Jack Shanahan, a driver that we've said it before, you can squint and you know it's him. You could be in any vehicle on any track anywhere in the world and you're still going to know a Jack Shanahan run. Super fast, 62.5 kilometer an hour average speed. One of the fastest drivers out there. Max angle, 70.5 degrees.
I'm just looking at the front wheel. The front wheel is telling a big tale on this circuit because if it's locked, it's a deduction, as you said. If it moves, it's a mistake. The front wheel, once it's set at angle, Jack doesn't touch it.
No.
It is perfect.
He's able to lock that thing in.
But do the judges agree with us? We're drift fans, so we see everything. Everything is a wow for us.
Yeah.
Everything is wow. I'm telling you now as well, this is going to become a game for these guys. Who can get the higher qualifying score? It's going to be a 94 from the judges. They're not that impressed. They didn't like it as much as they did. Where did he lose out? He lost out a little line and a little bit of style.
Yeah, which, I mean, curious on the style. That's pretty stylish to me.
Yeah, pretty stylish for me as well. We go back on the line to a man that every Polishman and woman in the place will be cheering for. It is the one and only Piotr Wojciech. He sits on the line in this incredible Toyota Supra. A90 Supra sits on the line. A car that's been developed over and over. He slams through the gears. Everything is on the line this weekend for this man. Can he win a championship in Poland in front of his home crowd as he fires through? Looking good right now as Wojciech, as he puts it right close to the wall, front bumper almost kissing the Red Bull brand, and as he now puts the back end towards the wall, the back end pops up on acceleration as Wojciech fires it through the middle of the circuit, back on throttle once again. Wojciech looking good into outside zone 6, on the foot brake, on the throttle at the same time. He balances that Supra where it needs to be. It's absolutely beautiful.
There are so many times where I was expecting him to crash. I thought that was it. He would be, getting into these zones. I'm like, why isn't he hitting the wall? What is going on? It doesn't make sense how he's able to just drag the back end of that car all the way through these zones. He's got so much grip coming into this first part and then gets that car settled. The slightest of left foot brake to get the car settled, and it is very planted through all the transitions and all the zones, and that devastatingly angry stare that he's got when he is driving.
Join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more. Just $1 down, $15 a month.
And look at this, but these points mean everything to the championship right now. He needs every single scrap that he can get his hands on to be able to take the top spot here. Winning the championship in Poland in front of all these people is a young boy's dream. And for Piotr, I mean, he knows that he's got to be the top qualifier. He's got to do everything he can to grasp any point available to him. And this is right on it.
Oh, and it is on it. It's a 97.2 for Wojciech as he now starts to claw back the championship in Poland in front of the Polish fans. Could this be the dream for Wojciech? Could this be the weekend he does it? This is only qualifying, but as you said, Jacob, every point counts. But on the line is the man that's leading the championship. He won it in 2023 here under the lights in the PGA Narodowy. Could he do it again? Connor Shanahan on the line, 1,000 horsepower underneath his foot. He screams through the gears as Connor Shanahan, your championship leader, fires in for initiation, and it's good from Shanahan. It's on the wall, it's clinical, but can he make it work the whole way through? Shanahan tries to go as deep and as wide as he can on every single turn as he gets himself into outside zone 4. It's bumper to wall as Connor Shanahan fires the Red Bull GT86 through the middle of the circuit. He looks for the wall, he comes back through his own smoke once again. He stalls up ever so slightly in outside zone 6. He shallows off the angle. He dials the angle back in across the line.
This is close. This is very close, Ian.
This is a war. These guys are going to war.
It is shot for shot, every single one of these runs. Man, where does this end? How does this finish? Because everybody is stepping their game up on all of the runs. Connor Shanahan through that first outside zone, very similar to Piotr. with that little bit of a left foot brake stab to go through. Sets himself up so well for that inside clip. This transition is phenomenal. Look at this from that camera angle. Crazy, crazy set of runs here. And Connor is just, he's feeling the wall all the way through. It's like you're going for a midnight snack and you don't want to turn the lights on. You're just dragging your hands down the hallway to figure where you are. And there's his mom.
And look at his mother in the paddock, watching on.
Could not imagine the stress in that paddock right now, or the confidence in your son, who is one of the greatest in the world. Wild, wild run there from Connor Shanahan.
If qualifying isn't enough to get your blood pumping, tomorrow, exclusively on Red Bull TV, the top 32 will be nothing short than a roller coaster. And history in the making.
We're only halfway through qualifying.
We have to do this all over again.
Man, I was worried about that hood. It looks a little flappy. I was concerned it was going to pop up. I know he would have kept going, and the score wouldn't have changed anything. But a little bit of an air scoop there. Man, look how planted this car looks, though. So stable. That front wheel locked all the way in. Wheel speed, I mean, looks good. Oh, man,
well, look at
everything about it.
Shanahan waiting for the score to drop in. It's a 95.2 for Connor Shanahan, and he doesn't look happy as he pulls that car off the circuit. And Shanahan pulls off, and he doesn't lead the top of qualifying after the first runs, but he's in the conversation.
Yeah. What he needs now is to get into that top four, stay in that top four, make it into the showdown, and keep clawing those points back. That is the goal now. Man, crazy set of runs that we've already seen here. So fans pumped, and this is where we sit right now.
They certainly are. Well, here we go. This is it. This is how the leaderboard looks right now after the first round of qualifying. Peter Wienseg leads it with a 97.2. Then it's Dean. Kevin Passer back in the conversation. He's hungry for it. And our wildcard driver, Hiro Manoa from Japan, a 95.5. He set the scoreboard alight early.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing spoiler to a lot of drivers. Jack Shanahan all the way down in 9th. Pretty crazy. Lori Heinen in 93 puts you in 12th. And Mika Keska-Korpi, 92 and 16th.
Yeah, look, this